Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. We're the Partisia Blockchain applications team. We have with us today Thomas, our CTO, Mark, our senior Partisian Rust researcher, Demir, our director of DevOps, and David, our senior implementation engineer. I'm your host, Logan, the director of operations, and we've been building everything tangible that you can interact with on the protocol in production today. So very happy to have everyone here and have data natives bring us in. So Thomas, why don't you take us through the get started pages, and we'll show everyone what we've got ready for them.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'll go ahead and share my screen. If somebody can give me that permission, please.
Go ahead.
Great, thank you. So if you go to partisiablockchain.com, in the site there is a developers header, and if you go into there, it will take you to the page where you can find a lot of documentation. From within here, if you do start building, it will take you more specifically to the details of that documentation. Oh, one moment. What I plan to go through today is more on the application side. So there are some really good webinars the last week and 2 weeks where they've gone over the smart contract side and the node side. I plan to go more onto the application side. So within here, you have a lot of documentation, and I'm going to go over the wallet and the SDK. So if I open up the wallet documentation, I will, for other people, make that light. I think the important thing to start out with is how to actually get the wallet. So we have a Chrome extension currently located with this application ID. So if you go to the Google Chrome Play Store and you can search for it, or you can get the link directly, just make sure that this application ID matches, and that is the official, that is our officially supported Chrome extension. I have it already installed. The next thing I'm going to do is walk you through how you would actually operate the wallet. So if you're starting with the wallet for the very first time, you can create a new wallet, or you can import keys that you already have. So if you want to create a new wallet, you create a wallet password, and this is important because the keys in the wallet are stored encrypted by this password. So even within the wallet storage, the keys are not available. They can only be retrieved in memory buffer after the password has been entered. We don't enforce strong passwords. Instead, we leave it up to the user to decide on themselves what their password is, because you are going to be interacting with it quite a bit. It's up to you to make that a judgment, how comfortable you are with it. By default, we'll provide you a random 12-word mnemonic. This 12-word mnemonic can also be changed in the settings to be up to 24 words. And if you create a new wallet, you're presented with this. I do want to go over just a few of the types of wallets we have. So we have 5 different types of wallets. And I'll go into more detail in a little bit. We have the mnemonic phrase, which is the default one. We have a private key, which is strictly a 64 length hexadecimal string. We have Twitter authentication, which is kind of exciting and unique, and you can read more about how that's actually done through this link, Taurus Labs. We have a Ledger hardware wallet. The Ledger hardware wallet is currently under review to become official in the Ledger Live app. We're on the wait list, but you can still use it if you're comfortable loading the binaries yourself until we get actual official acceptance. And then we also have a key store file that you can create, which has an encrypted version of your private keys. Now, once you have a wallet, there's a few things I want to kind of explain. Up here in the header is your address. If you click this little icon here, it'll copy it to your keyboard. That's your public address. We have your networks, which can be either mainnet or testnet. I'm gonna flip to testnet because I'll do some activity in the testnet. And then if you click receive, you get a QR code, and that address again is the same as your header. If you actually click this button, it'll take you to the MPC Explorer, which you can see is empty right now because this is just a new random address. The next thing I want to talk about is backing up your wallet. So if you go to the menu icon and you go to account backup, it'll tell you that for this wallet, you can if you enter in your wallet password, it will reveal your private key as well as your mnemonic phrase that was just randomly created. You also have the option to export this information to a file, which is again encrypted by your password. After this, real quickly go over some wallet settings. So within the settings menu, you can choose how many words you want your mnemonic. You can choose how long your wallet can be open for without timing out. This is in case you leave your computer, you don't want somebody to come in afterwards and do transactions. How long the default valid time is for a transaction. Right now it's 60 seconds, and which block explorer you want to use. So these are the defaults. You can also change your password at a later time if you want. The about menu just tells you the wallet version, as well as this is clickable to get to our source code. And then the reset all will completely remove all data and information you have. So this will reset it back to the original state, and you should only do this if you have a copy of your keys. The next I want to talk about is the different types of wallets you can have. So briefly, I covered that you can have the mnemonic phrase, private key, Twitter, ledger, and key store file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and import two things. I'm going to go ahead and import an account that I already have. So I'm using the backup file because I don't want to show any of my private keys on camera. So when I import this, you can see that I have some stuff already prepared. And what I also want to do is import a Twitter account. So if I go here and I select Twitter, it gives me the option to log in with Twitter. If I click this, it will, now I've already set this up to be in my Twitter account. It will automatically create my public private key pairs and bring me to the wallet. Now I want to go over actually sending a token. So if you go ahead, I'm going to go ahead to my account here, and I'll just name this demo account just so it's a little bit more clear. So if I go ahead to my demo account, I can go ahead and click an example test MPC 20, which is based on the ERC 20 standard. And I'm going to go ahead and send it. Now you can obviously paste an address directly, or I can go ahead and use the Twitter account that I just logged in with, and I'll go ahead and send myself 100 test tokens. It'll bring me to confirm this. And if I go ahead and actually do this transaction, you can see that my balance will update. It just moved down from 9,800 to 9,700. And if I go into my other account, you can see that my test tokens are here. And I can go ahead and send those back and forth. So that is a example of the wallet, which is half of what I want to show. The other half is now that the wallet has been created and has some interesting features to it, I want to then demonstrate how the SDK works, which is how a actual website would connect to the wallet and interact with it. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead to the SDK documentation. So here in the SDK documentation, I have a little bit of an intro. The wallet is the same Chrome wallet. And then I have the getting started. To get started as a developer, simply install this library, which is fairly standard. And then to actually use the library, I have separated this out with connecting a wallet and then the actual interactions you can have within the wallet. So to connect the wallet, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and connect to chain ID Partisia Blockchain testnet, and the permissions I'm going to allow is for signing. So if I go ahead and connect this wallet, it will ask me which wallet I want to connect to. I'm going to go ahead and select my demo account, connect, and you can see, refresh this. You can see that here on the top right, I am connected. And as a developer, this is the information you will get. You will get the address, the public key, the shard that it's located on. This is some information for communicating with the SDK right here. So that's just the SDK information that you'll need to provide if you need to reconnect. So the important information is basically your address and public key. If you want to actually interact with it, for example, you can sign a message. And how you would set this up is you take your SDK object, you go ahead and define the payload type as UTF-8 and what your payload string is going to be. If you send this to the wallet, you can see that the wallet will give you a preview of what you're signing. It tells you that the network is testnet. Here's your account. Here is the URL that's requesting the signature. And here is the actual message. And if you want to see the bytes, this is what the actual bytes that will be signed look like. If I sign this, as a developer who is running the dApp, you can see that this is your result. Your result is this signature. This is the serialized transaction, the digest of that transaction. And if this was actually broadcast on chain, this would be the transaction hash. But because this is a UTF signature, there is no broadcasting. The next kind of interaction you can have is an actual smart contract. So within the smart contract, this is an example of how you would set that up. You have your SDK object, which you can create using this information that is provided to you when you connected. So you have your seed and your connection, that's your seed. If you define the ABI and the payload for that ABI. So in this case, I'm defining two objects, the invocation byte and the amount. And then all you would do is go ahead and send that message. So you tell the SDK what contract you want to send it to. The payload, which is created right up here. The payload type, which is hex payload. And if you want to actually broadcast that to the network. This is a simplified version. There is more configuration you can do, and the below example is how you can create more custom configuration with that. I won't get into too much details, but essentially you can create extended expiring times. You can create a different contract, and you can put in a custom notes. What this would look like, and these two both create the same payloads. This is just if you want more configuration. What this looks like when you actually send that over is this invocation byte 0 and the amount 10,000. Here's what it would look like in JSON format that the actual blockchain would see. So you can see the payload serializes into this. and the deserialization is that. So the invocation byte 0, amount 10,000, and this is what the actual blockchain would see. And then even further serialization, this is what the actual bytes are. So if I go ahead and click transact, it would do this. I don't have any funds for it, so I'm not going to actually do it, but that is how that would work. And you can see that there's a little countdown for how valid, how much time I have for this transact to be valid. The last thing I want to show is how this actually works in real world. So I'm going to go ahead to my where this address is. And you can see that now I have a lot of stuff in here populated. I have 3 tabs: transactions, tokens, and BYOC. Transactions is everything I've ever done. Tokens is the transaction, a specific token. In this case, it's my test token. And BYOC is how you fund gas. And you can see these transactions on the actual ETH Golarity chain. So I want to talk about the token that I just created and sent through the wallet. Another way of doing that would be through the SDK. How this would work in reality is if I go to the actual contract address, which in this case I can see is here. I go to this contract address, and this is all the transactions on this particular contract, also exportable to CSV. If I go to interact, I can see all the possible actions that this contract will accept. The one that I had done was transfer. So if I see the transfer, I can see that there's a to and amount field, and these are, dynamically created. If I go ahead and connect my wallet, similar to how I did in the example SDK docs, you can see in the top right, my address is now here, and you can see that there's now a transact button. If I go ahead and manually assign address to, so if I go ahead and select this address and an amount, and I do transact, you can see that now the wallet has the same information it had before, but the interaction is originated from a website. So that is how the same operations can be done depending on your purposes. So the wallet has some native functionality, but the vast majority of you will actually be creating a website. And this is how to get it into, this is how to connect to the wallet and to create that transaction. So with that, I will pass it back over to Logan, who I believe will pass it back to David. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight into how the wallet and the SDK operate.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thomas, for going through all of that. I hope it was at least a brush up for many of our community members, as well as new beginnings for those who are just joining us. We've really been fast at hand to support all devs as they come through the door, either in our Discord or Telegram or what have you. And David has prepared this UI toolkit, which we're excited to jump into, showing you just how it works. David?
Yeah, thank you, Logan. Thank you, Thomas. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm David, Senior Implementation Engineer here at Partisia Application Team. I'll be going through a demo on how to use the UI toolkit created in creating dApps on Partisia Blockchain. So let me share my screen. So here in toolkit, here in Partisia Blockchain website. So the first thing you need to do is access this link. Logan will make the link available to developers that needs the UI toolkit to set up. This toolkit is built on Vue.js, Vue 3, and the necessary requirement needed to build this toolkit are you need Node.js installed in your system. basically Node.js. So let me just go to setting up, and of course you need Git. And then let me just go to setting up. So first thing you need to clone the repo. So I come here. Let me clone the repo. So basically, to clone the repo, the README, the guide on how to clone the repo is in the README file. So you just follow it to be a comprehensive guide on how to do that. So I've successfully cloned the repo. Let me just open the project. So here is the project freshly installed on my system. So the first thing I need to do is to install project dependencies. All the SDK Thomas earlier mentioned has been set up in this UI toolkit. So all you need to just do is just install and start using. So what I do is I do npm install to install project dependencies. So one of the requirements to use this UI toolkit, you need Node 14 installed in your system. So I go ahead to install Node 14, nvm install 14. Of course, you need nvm installed. Nvm is Node version manager to have different Node version in your system. So I installed Node 14 to be able to use this UI toolkit, which I just did. So I try to install again. Okay, it's asking me Node version 14.2. So let me just come here. So we can, okay, let me just do npm install. So installation successful. So what all you need to do is you need to run the code. How to run the code? You need to do npm run dev to build the file. So we do npm run dev. So npm run dev has successfully built the file running on localhost 8080. Worth mentioning is that this project was built on Tailwind CSS, so that developers, Tailwind CSS is one of the most comprehensive CSS framework developers use these days. So it has already been installed for developers to use. And it also uses the Cursor framework. Cursor framework is one of the most seamless Vue.js framework used by developers today. So here is the basic boilerplate on that has the whole Partisia SDK installed. So as you need to do, you need to connect your Partisia wallet. So that's me connecting my Partisia wallet. So I just connected my Partisia wallet. So I need to refresh this page. So the wallet has been successfully connected, and here's my wallet address. And I can now interact with the Partisia SDK, or interact with smart contract bit on the Partisia blockchain. So here are just some basic facts what do I need to interact with Partisia Blockchain? Where can I find contract standard? These are just basic information. Then also this SDK has PayPal, Coinbase installed in the toolkit. So if developers want to accept payments, they have the option of using PayPal and Coinbase. All they have to do is to add their environmental key in the environmental file. If guide on how to add environmental file is in the project readme. And yeah, some Partisia's NFT in case more want to donate. So these are just basic things. And if a developer needs a Partisia media file, they just need to come to it, drag them to this media file. So if you come to this link, you can get all the media files needed to build on the Partisia blockchain. So this is partisiablockchain.com/media. It provides all the basic necessary media files to build on the blockchain. So that's basically everything you need. The whole wallet connection Thomas mentioned is built in the code, and a comprehensive store framework is already built in the code. All you need to do is just come build your app on Partisia blockchain, and that's basically all. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, David. You've built this to spec and design to give all devs coming in a bootstrap boost on their development. So this is now a public repo, the UI toolkit. Just make sure it is public before I say that. But it is a public repo. It's been dropped in our chat here for the webinar. It will be available on the web. It's one of the moments that we actually use this as a base in order to continue to iterate on technologies that we have coming out. So hopefully we can show you those soon. And it's always really important to implement even best practices online when you're deploying the completed apps. So we brought on Demir, our director of DevOps, here to share kind of how to manage this both as safely and economically as possible. Demir?
Thank you, Luan. Hello, everyone. I wish I had something to show you, or actually to explain you how it works behind, but I can't share all the information when it comes to our setup. What I can tell you is that it's pretty challenging to keep all these amazing applications, as you saw, up to date, and always maintain the tech stacks behind it and make sure that the developers have all the pipelines set up and automatically deployable as well as secured. We are making sure on each step to follow, all the good practices when it comes to the DevOps standards. It doesn't matter if that's deployment or backends, frontends, nodes, whatever. We are making sure that everything is set up in stone, and also it's a good thing to know that we also have internal audits so that we can stay up to date with, because nobody online is forever safe. So we are being proactive in that way and making sure that, we are fast to catch up all the vulnerabilities if they happen, when they happen, actually. Another good thing to mention is that we are mixing several platforms, including clouds as well. Also, again, I wish I could tell you more about that, but that would expose our public information, private information that we can't really share in public. But it's a good thing to know that, we have all the systems scalable and we have monitoring set up in place. And we're always working on the alerting system that is keeping us up to date whenever something goes wrong, if it goes wrong, of course. And
kept
that's the general.
And you kept
Sorry?
our house. No, I was saying you've
Yeah.
kept our house this whole time. Everything that Demir said is definitely best practices in how you should maintain your cloud and your infrastructure. Demir, do you have like a top 3 pitfalls that people should avoid?
Well, definitely. As you guys saw, some of the applications that we use and that our developers going to use are requiring the exact version setup in place, and that can be sometimes, challenging. So, what I would advise you to just stay patient, and of course, if you ever hit the wall or have any issues, don't hesitate. Make sure that you can contact us, and we can help you, with whatever issue we have building with us, so we can speed up your progress in general. That's, in my opinion, at least currently the biggest challenge for future developers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope that anybody who wants some mentoring on best practices for that, please reach out and we'll get you over to our DevOps secure. But now for those backend processes that don't require a cloud, the smart contracts. We saw Thomas interacting with some before, but we'd like to see how they can be deployed and what do our devs need to do to get to the business of their operations. Mark, you want to take it?
Yeah, for sure. So hello everyone. And yeah, before I will show how to deploy the token, actually the MPC21, I would also like to present the repo where the code is stored of this token actually. And for that, let me guys share my screen, please. I hope I have permissions. Okay, so this is the GitHub repo actually that for now I maintain. And here we have 3 token standards. The most popular one, like ERC20, in our case, it's MPC20. The same for 721 and 1155. So first things first, actually, if you would like to have your token deployed on the testnet or mainnet, you have 2 ways on how you can do this. You can simply download it from artifacts. Probably here we have like precompiled WASMs and ABI files. I'll show later how to deploy the actual contract, but yeah. Or you can also build it on your own. So you can clone the repo. Here I have a small explanation how to do this. Pretty much simple. You will also need to install the CLI. It's done using one cargo command. And of course, for the prerequisites, you need to have a Rust. But first things first. What I want to tell you guys is that I will mainly focus on the MPC20 token because right now we had a lot of discussions regarding the standard, and like on Ethereum, if you will code like a contract and if it won't follow the IRC20 interface, this token is not going to work. So probably, let's say the Explorer, it won't tell you that this is a token. And the same thing for us. So in our case, the token should implement a set of functions. Right now it's 3. This is a transfer function, the transfer from function, and the proof function. This is important. But again, you can easily clone the code from this repo and use it. Also, one more thing to mention, as you can see, I have a packages folder, and here I store the base functionality. So why do we do this? Is to allow users to build on the top. So like in Solidity, for example, you have a base class and you can simply inherit it and you will have all the functionality. And here my task was the same, that allow users to inherit the base functionality, so they don't need to, to copy paste the code over and over again to achieve the same, let's say, transfer function. And here you can find this base kraters that you can use in your project. So for example, if you would like to build a custom minting logic, you can easily do this. You will use the underlying base function to simply mint new tokens, but on the top you can have your own logic. So pretty much it. So if you guys interested, yeah, I would really suggest you to do your research. And my next step is to show you guys first how to get gas, because in order to sign a transaction, you need some gas. And for that, on the testnet, we have a faucet contract that you can use to actually mint these gas tokens. So I will just show you quickly how it works. Currently, this is my account. I have this amount of coin gas balance. Here I can easily sign a transaction. So I will just submit it. I've already logged in, so just to save some time. I will submit the transaction. We see that it's success. And if I will refresh it here, I will receive 10 millions more. So that's the first step. And the next step is I want to, since Thomas already introduced actually the MPC20 token and he showed you how to transfer it. So I will just show you guys how to deploy this. And here on this page, I already have everything prepared, but I mean, you only need to upload these two files here. You will receive them as an artifacts when you build the contract, and then you need to specify the initial data for initialization. Let's get this started. So I would create a moon token. So the name is going to be moon token. The symbol is going to be moon, and we will place 6 decimals since this is our standard right now to have 6 decimals. Also, we need to specify initial balances. So I will use my wallet. Let me take my address. I will use my wallet and I will create 21 like million tokens, but don't forget that since we have 6 decimals, we also need to add 6 zeros. Okay, so the initial balance done. Also here, like this is a minter. We can specify the address that will be allowed to mint new tokens, but because we want to have a fixed total supply of 21 million, I will just remove it. So that's the flexibility that we allow. Also that the MPC20 implementation allows. And let's submit the transaction. It success. So invocation deploy public WASM contract deployed at. So we can go to this address. Here you can see that this is all the stuff that we need to have. And also I will show you that on my wallet, actually, I have this moon token. So that's also a cool feature that our wallet will immediately catch this and display. I'm sorry for this too many tokens. I mean, this is my testnet address I used to test everything. But yeah, that's the moon token, guys. And yeah, that was my agenda actually, to introduce core contracts, introduce the gas faucet, and introduce how to deploy an MPC20 token. So I guess that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks, Mark. It looks like we're already halfway to the moon. I'd like to thank everyone for doing their part here at the Partisia Blockchain applications on and off screen, and in the Partisia infrastructure, who's providing the protocol every single day. Each of our core developers is giving it their 100%, and we can't be happier with the continued progress as we scale the ecosystem. Now I'd like to open it up to Q&A if possible before we do our outro. Elad, do you have any Q&A? Is it just us? Oh, you're muted.
No, we're good. No Q&A for now. Guys, you're welcome to, guys and girls, you're welcome to ask questions, and we have a Q&A. And I'm here to help, and what's the team here? You can also raise your hands if you have any questions, and we will allow you to ask it. You don't need to write it. That's okay.
If you want to come up, ask a question via voice, or if you have any questions that you'd like to throw in the Q&A, we'd be happy to answer those. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have any questions off chain, come to our Discord, like, follow us on Twitter. If you want to get any of our testnet early on Partisia, we should be able to help you with that. If you have any issues with anything at all in the documentation and building of the UI toolkit, please raise issues in GitHub. If you find anything, if you have any questions, we're here 24/7 to ensure that your issue gets met with action. So with that, I wish you all a great day and happy building.